bear that in mind. Anyway, we'll try to make you understand the basics so that when you read your notes and stuff, you'll understand what's going on. Yeah? We won't teach you everything, but we'll give you the basics. So first, pathophysiology of neurological disorders. These are the questions I'll be covering in this slideshow. That's mainly central paralysis, peripheral paralysis, and paralytic syndrome. Well, that doesn't really exist as a use in English, but I sort of figured out what he meant by it. So first of all, central paralysis. For that, you have to know some basics so that you understand what I'll be talking about. What is the CNS? What is the central nervous system consist of? Brain and spinal cord, right? Both of them. And the peripheral nervous system consists of? Yeah, the cranial and spinal nerves and their branches. Okay? So if there is a problem with the brain or spinal cord, then it's central paralysis. Okay? And if there's a problem with those nerves, which are the spinal nerves and the cranial nerves, then it's peripheral paralysis. Or central paralysis is also known as upper motor neuron lesions. Okay, that's the meaning of upper motor neuron. Upper motor neuron just means motor neurons that exist in the brain and the spinal cord. That's the only meaning. Okay? And they have specific signs along with them. And lower motor neuron means neurons that exist in the peripheral nerves. That is the spinal nerves and the cranial nerves. Okay? So if you know that, if you can understand that, then this will be very easy for you guys. Yeah, so it's paralysis due to lesion in the brain or spinal cord, and it's due to upper motor neuron lesion. You understand that what that means now, don't you? Upper motor neuron means anything that's in the brain or spinal cord. I haven't put down the spinal cord because I don't feel like teaching it to you guys. Tenny's doing it. But yeah, there's a picture. She'll teach you more about the spinal cord. I'm concentrating on the central paralysis. So the brain. Do you know the motor areas of the brain? It's the primary motor cortex. That's before the central guy, right? Yeah. That's not the story. Yeah. So this is your primary motor cortex. That's the central sulcus, and in front of it, that's in the frontal lobe. Okay. That's what controls all your movements, everything. Okay, from your eyes to your toes, it does everything. And you have other motor cortexes, other areas, but they just supplement the function of this one. Okay. You don't need to know in detail about these. They are just, these are all of them, but you just need to know about this one. That's why there's a picture here of just that one. And that one goes like this, yeah? Throughout the surface of the hemisphere, on both hemispheres. And each part of the motor cortex controls one part of your body. As you can see, in the middle, it's the legs. Okay? From here, if there's a stimulation, your legs move. If there's a stimulation from here, it's your mouth and your tongue. From here, it's your hand. And as you can see, your hand has a major area on it. That's why you can do fine movements with your hand, because you have more control over your hand and less control over your leg. That's why you can tie a knot with your hand, but you can't tie a knot with your toes. Okay? Because there's less space controlling the leg, and there's more space controlling the hand. That's why you have more control over your hands than your legs. That's just by the way. Same thing with your mouth and your tongue. You have more control over that. And of course there's a part that controls your throat, because you need to swallow, talk. So the edge controls the throat. So this is the motor cortex. And any lesion here, 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 anything happening there would cause central paralysis. Okay? And I'll come to that. Yeah. So lesion involving the motor cortex, the corticospinal tract, which Teddy will talk to you about. The corticospinal tract exists in the spinal cord and also in the brain. Okay, this is the corticospinal tract. It starts from the motor cortex, goes down, and there's something important that happens down here. What's that? Before it goes to the spinal cord. Yeah, they decussate. They cross. Okay, that's important to know. So they cross. That's why if there's a lesion here, this is the left brain, okay? And if there's something happening here, which hand would get affected? Right hand, because they cross over. But underneath the crossing, if there's a lesion there, on the right side, where would they have problem with?
Right hand.
On the right side. Okay, so that's why it's important to know about the decussation. Okay, and don't have to learn all this. Don't worry. I put this picture here because I told you about the peripheral nerves. Okay, and then there are cranial nerve nuclei as well. This is the peripheral part. Okay, the cranial nerves, and this is the central part, the nuclei which exist in the brainstem. Okay, so if there's a problem with your cortex, okay, which I showed you in the previous slide, or your brainstem, okay, which controls your cranial nerves, then you can have central paralysis. Okay, and I will show you. I'll give you the characteristics of central paralysis also. It's important to know. You can differentiate between central and peripheral just by looking at the person. I'll tell you how. So, you know the cranial nerves are numbered 1 to 12. You know on what basis they are numbered? Why are they from 1 to 12? Why did they number them like that? Yeah, it's according to the location. Okay. So, as you can see, oculomotor nucleus is number 3. 3 is up there. Hypoglossal is down here. So they are numbered in order of how they occur in the brainstem. And that's important to know because if there is a lesion on the upper part of your brainstem, it would affect the upper ones. You will know. You don't have to by heart anything. You know, upper will be 3, 4, 5. Middle would be 5, 6, 7, 8 because they are in order. So that's why it's important to know that it's in order that they are numbered. Okay, and your cranial nerves have some motor functions like. What are the motor functions of the cranial nerve? Your eyeball. Okay, then that would be your oculomotor, trochlear and abducens. Okay, what is your trigeminal control? No, masticatory. Your eating muscles. Okay, that's controlled by your trigeminal. I've circled all the ones with motor nuclei. Okay, there are other nuclei as well, but those don't control motor. They control other things like there's parasympathetic, there's sympathetic, there's staged. All that is not motor. I'm concentrating on motor because I'm talking about paralysis. Okay? And facial controls your all that. Face. And then you have nucleus ambiguous. Well, nucleus ambiguous has motor nuclei of cranial nerves 9, 10, and 11. Okay? All of them counted as this. 9 does what? Helps you? Swallow. Glosopharyngeal. It makes you swallow. 10 does what?
Because
10 also has a bit of
parasympathetic.
It also helps you swallow and helps you talk as well. Talking, okay? Your voice comes because of the 10th nerve. And glosopharyngeal? Muscle of the tongue, exactly. And finally, accessory nerve is again the trapezius. Okay, the 11th cranial nerve is only motor. The trapezius and what does it control? Controls 2 muscles. The 11th cranial nerve. Trapezius.
Sternocleidomastoid.
Okay. Sternocleidomastoid. So yeah, if there is a lesion in any of these nuclei, you would have central paralysis of that. So if there is a lesion in your oculomotor nuclei, for example, you would have central paralysis of the muscles that are controlled by your oculomotor nerve, okay? Or if you have of the trigeminal nerve, you will be able to chew as well, okay? These things don't happen commonly, but that's the implication. So you have to know if there is a lesion where, what happens, okay? In the exam you can say, when there is a lesion in the abducens nuclei, you can't abduct the eye. Abduct means go look that way with each eye. You can't do that anymore. And these nerves, do they decussate from the nuclei? The right abducen nerve goes to the right eye, or the left abducen nerve goes to the left eye, okay? And the left glossopharyngeal nerve goes to the left tongue, left part of the tongue, left tongue, okay? So there is no decussation except in one cranial nuclei. Which one? Trochlear, exactly. Trochlear is the only one that crosses. You can see it in this picture. It crosses. So your left trochlear nuclei would control your right eye. So you must know that. None of the cranial nuclei cross over except for the trochlear. Okay? So if there is a lesion in this nuclei over here, left part, which I would get affected, right eye because it crosses over. Okay? But if there is a lesion underneath here, which eye would get affected? The opposite eye. Okay? And now I'll tell you something that you have to know. These nerves, these nuclei are not the only thing controlling your eye, your tongue, etc. As I showed you in the previous picture, there's an area in your cerebral cortex for your tongue as well. There's an area in your cerebral cortex for your eye as well. That's because from here there are nerves that go to your central cortex, your motor cortex. Okay, and those nerves all keep us safe. Okay, try to get that. I'll draw it for you. I'll draw one nerve and show you. Okay, we'll take the example of the hypoglossal nerve. So this is your tongue. Okay, there's a nerve going to your. I'm showing the left brain. Okay, there's a nerve going to your left brain, the hypoglossal nerve, to the hypoglossal nuclei. You can understand that. From here, it continues to the motor cortex, but it goes to the right one. Okay? So, the right part of your brain controls the left tongue. The right part of your brain controls the left part of your tongue. At the same time, the left part of your brainstem controls the left part of your tongue. Understand? And it's the same with all the others, except for the trochlear. Okay? Trochlear is interesting because trochlear is the other way around. Trochlear controls what? Eye, superior oblique muscle. Okay? So from the trochlear it goes. I'm talking about the right eye now. Okay? From the trochlear, it goes to the left part of your brain stem. Again, it crosses from here to the right. Okay? So in the end, the right side of your brain controls the right trochlear nerve, but the left side of your brain stem controls the right trochlear nerve. It's the opposite with all the others. Okay? It's all about wiring in neurology. Okay? You know electricity, then it's very easy for you. But yeah, so basically you have to understand that. If you understand that, everything gets okay and simple. These tracts, that's why you learned it in your anatomy. I should have, right? Anyway, so those are the nuclei which affected will cause central paralysis. Yeah, now I'll teach you the characteristics of central paralysis. So, which parts of your body would cause central paralysis? Motor cortex, brainstem, and the spinal tract. Which tract in the spinal cord? Corticospinal. Okay. So these are the characteristics of central paralysis, and you should know that. Paralysis means what? Muscle is weak or it can't work. Yeah. So of course the first characteristic would be muscle weakness. It's understandable. Next is spasticity. Now, what that means is these people, when they have a lesion in the upper motor neuron or the central paralysis, their muscles are spastic. They have a tone. They're hypertonous. They remain a bit. Even though what do you say? That's okay. Great. From the spinal cord, there are motor neurons going to the muscles. Okay, and these motor neurons keep firing all the time. So what they do is they always maintain a tone in your muscles. Your muscles aren't just like that all the time. Even when you're relaxed, they have a little amount of contraction because these spinal nerves keep giving a stimulus, even though you're not moving. Naturally, they keep doing that. And what your central nervous system does is, there's a part in your central nervous system. It's in the brainstem again. Okay, it inhibits these tones. Okay, that's why you don't move too much. It's there, but it can't move you too much because that part of your brain inhibits these tones, stops them from being too much. People with Parkinson's have a problem with that part. That's why they can't control it. Okay, they keep shaking because that from the spinal cord, those impulses are not inhibited by their brain. Okay, normally they're inhibited. That's why you shake a bit, but not that much because your brain is inhibiting them. With central paralysis, that connection is gone. It's gone. Yeah. If that connection is gone, it's always it's not shaking, but it's spastic. It's not shaking because it's shaking in the other case because there is still a fight between the brain and the spinal cord. Now there's no fight because the connection is completely gone. So your spinal cord is just giving the impulse all the time. So that's why they're spastic. Okay? So they have spasticity. In the other one, I'll show you there's a difference. Next is hyperreflexes. Oh well, there are spastic reflexes. These are specific reflexes that only people with central motor neuron lesion have. Okay? Just know one, Babinski's type. You don't have to know what it means. Just know that there are spastic reflexes. The most popular one is the Babinski's type. Okay? That's, even if you don't remember this point, it's not so important. But the others you have to remember, so you can sort of leave that if you want. Now, there's no muscle wasting initially. Why? When does your muscle get wasted? When it's not used, yeah? But I told you that it's spastic. It's always having a certain tone. So, initially, your muscle doesn't get wasted. Your muscle remains as it is. Muscle wasting means the muscle atrophy gets smaller. But later on, because you're not using the muscle at all, even though there is a tone, you have to use it. They can't use it because they're paralyzed. So later on, the muscle does get smaller. But initially, what's important is the muscle does not get wasted. It remains as it is. Okay, because of the spasticity. Next is fasciculation and fibrillation. These are movements in the muscle. Okay, these are movements in the muscle. Fasciculation means it's like when the muscle moves a lot. Yeah, it's called a fasciculation. They are visible. They are visible movements of the muscle. Fibrillation is EMG. You have to have an EMG. That is, you have to detect the electric pulses. So this is more of at a cellular level. This is more at the muscle level. Okay. It just means that there's no shaking of your muscle. These people, their muscles don't shake too much. They're spastic, but they don't vibrate that much. In the other case, they do vibrate. Okay. That's also because of the alpha motor neuron firing. Okay. And finally, they have hyperactive reflexes because what makes reflex action? Your brain or your spinal cord? Spinal cord, yeah? So, it's a function of your spinal cord. And if there's a lesion in the brain, the spinal cord tract is still intact, it's still working. And there's no inhibition from the brain anymore towards it. So they have extreme reflexes. Like the knee jerk, they would do it. Normal person would have a little bit, but these people would have a lot. So that's hyperreflexia, okay? So these are the characteristics of central paralysis and why they occur. Now,